You know everyone's secrets. You know your mother has insomnia, that your brother lost his job, that your friend's marriage is falling apart. You know everything about everyone. But when someone asks, "How are you?" you automatically say, "I'm fine." And nobody asks again. Nobody really wants to know because you're the strong one, the one who can handle anything. And nobody can stand someone who puts up with everyone else. This is Mariana's story. 34 years old, a lifetime being everyone's therapist, everyone's problem solver, everyone's rock, until she realized something terrifying. She had become a function, not a person. And the people who said they loved her, they loved what she did, not who she was. This is about invisible exhaustion, about loving everyone and being loved by no one, about the day she stopped carrying the world and saw it not crumble. Are you Mariana? Let's find out. If you can tolerate everyone else but no one can tolerate you, sign up now. Here we talk about mental health without romanticizing it and without lying to you. Mariana's story might be the mirror you need to see. Mariana wasn't born the strong one. She became that way at 16, the day her parents announced their separation. Sunday dinner, tension in the air. Father said, "Your mother and I are separating." Silence. Her 12-year-old brother started to cry. Mother left the table. Father took the keys and left. And Mariana? Mariana cleaned the table, took her brother to his room, hugged him until he fell asleep. Then she went to see her mother, locked in her room, crying. Mariana knocked on the door. "Mom, can I come in?" She went in, sat on the bed, held her hand. Everything will be all right. But Mariana didn't believe it. She was 16. She didn't know anything, but someone needed to say it. Someone needed to hold things together, and nobody else was going to do it, so she did it. And that night, without realizing it, Mariana signed a contract, unwritten but binding, a contract to be the one who endures. And she fulfilled it for 18 years, until she completely broke down. Weeks after the separation, a routine settled in. Mother was depressed. She wouldn't get out of bed. Mariana woke up early, made breakfast for her brother, took him to school, went to her own school, came back, cooked, cleaned, did homework with her brother, put him to bed, went to see her mother. "Mom, have you eaten?" "I'm not hungry." "You need to eat." She brought a plate, sat there until her mother ate, then went to her own room to do her own homework, to study, to cry alone, because nobody asked how she was, because she seemed fine. And when you seem fine, nobody investigates. People see what you show. And Mariana showed strength, so everyone assumed she had it, but she didn't have it. She simply didn't have a choice not to, because if she fell apart, who would support her brother? Who would take care of her mother? Nobody. So she held on, alone, at 16, with 12 years of responsibility on her shoulders, and nobody saw the weight. They only saw results. Wow, you're so mature. Forced maturity, not chosen maturity. And forced maturity has another name, stolen childhood. Years passed. Mariana grew up, but her role didn't change. She continued to be the one who solves problems. Her mother improved, but she remained dependent. "Daughter, can you do this?" "Daughter, I need your help." And Mariana always could. She always helped. Her brother grew up, became a teenager, rebellious. He fought with his mother. His mother would call Mariana, "Come here and sort this out." And Mariana would go. She would talk to her brother, calm the situation, return to her house, exhausted but mission accomplished. Friends discovered this. Mariana always knows what to do, so they would call during crises, breakups, problems at work, family fights, and Mariana always answered, as if it were her obligation, as if it were her job to keep everyone running smoothly. And she did it well, so well that no one noticed the cost of having no one to call when she was in crisis. Because Mariana didn't have crises. Mariana solved crises. That was her job, and jobs don't have needs. They only fulfill a purpose. And Mariana's purpose was to endure everyone, except herself. Mariana was 28 years old when she noticed something strange. She was at a friend's birthday party. The room was full, everyone was laughing, talking, and Mariana was there, alone, in the middle of everyone, because conversations worked like this. Someone would come, they would vent, Mariana would listen, she would give advice, the person would thank her, "You're amazing," and leave. And the next person would come, same pattern, venting, advice, thanks, goodbye. Nobody asked about Mariana, how work was going, if she had met anyone, what she was feeling, nothing. She was a walking ear, not a person. And when she tried to share something, people would look at their phones, or change the subject, or say, "Wow, you're so strong, this is nothing for you." And Mariana shrank back, because she understood. Nobody wanted to listen, they wanted to be heard, and she was the perfect audience, silent, attentive, non-invasive, because she never talked about herself. Mariana left the party early, alone, as always. She cried in the car, not from sadness, from realization. She had 50 people who called when they needed her, but 0 people who called to see how she was doing. 0. And that wasn't ordinary loneliness, it was functional loneliness. You exist, but only as a tool, and tools aren't loved, they're used. And when they break, they're discarded. And Mariana was breaking down for years, and nobody saw it because it was still functioning. Mariana had a silent breakdown, not a panic attack, no hospitalization, just an internal shutdown. She was driving, coming back from solving yet another problem for her mother, heavy traffic, and out of nowhere, she started crying, without warning, out of control. She cried so much that she had to pull the car over, shoulder of the road, emergency lights on. And there she was, sobbing, for a whole hour. Cars passing by, honking, life going on around her, while she crumbled. And the thought that came was terrifying. If I died now, how long would it take for someone to miss me? Not because of the role I play, but because of me. Because of who I am. And she couldn't answer, because she didn't know if anyone really knew her. They knew what she did, but who was she? Beyond all usefulness? Mariana didn't know if anyone knew. Worse, didn't know if anyone cared to know, because no one had ever asked, really asked, and stayed to hear the answer, and that was a living death, to be seen, but invisible. Seen as a function, invisible as a person. When Mariana arrived home, she made a decision, a radical one, a frightening one. It was going to stop, answering calls, solving problems, being available, for a week, to test it, to see what would happen, if anyone noticed, if anyone cared, or if they only cared when they needed something. She turned off notifications, didn't answer calls, didn't answer messages. She just disappeared for 7 days and observed. First day, 0 messages asking how she was doing. Second day, a message from her mother. Mariana saw it, opened it. "Daughter, why aren't you answering? I need your help with something." Not, "Is everything all right?" Not, "I'm worried." Just, "I need you." Mariana didn't answer. Third day, friend, "Hey, long time no see. I have a problem. Call when you can. Again, problem. Not missing you. Problem. Fourth day, brother. Sis, where are you? I need to talk about something. Talk or vent while she listens. Mariana knew the answer. Fifth, sixth, seventh day, more of the same. Everyone in need, no one asking. And that confirmed it. No one missed her, they missed what she did. And this truth didn't just hurt, it devastated her. Because it meant that 18 years of connections were an illusion. She didn't have friends, she had clients. She didn't have a loving family, she had a functional family. And when does that stop being functional? Clients leave. And Mariana was about to find that out, in the most painful way. Mariana answered again, but differently. Her mother called. Where were you? I needed you. Mariana took a deep breath. I needed myself too, so I chose myself. Silence. Shocked. As if Mariana had said something absurd. How could you choose yourself? I'm your mother. And I'm your daughter, not your employee. More silence. Uncomfortable. Heavy. Mom hung up, without saying goodbye. A friend texted, Hey, can you call me? Mariana, I can't. I'm tired. Friend, wow, that's okay. You always can. No, I always could, but I don't want to be able to anymore. You're acting strange. And she disappeared. He simply disappeared, without insisting, without asking why, because he didn't care about answers, he cared about solutions, and Mariana wasn't providing them anymore. Brother came in person. He knocked on the door. Mariana opened it. Are you okay? He was the first person to ask. Mariana almost cried. No, I'm not. Brother came in. He sat down. What happened? And Mariana poured her heart out, years of carrying him, of solving his problems, of having no one to solve hers. Brother listened, and in the end, he said something unexpected. I didn't know. I thought you liked helping. And there it was, the illusion. Because Mariana always helped, everyone assumed she wanted to, that it was pleasure, not obligation, not sacrifice, pleasure. And no one had questioned it, because it was convenient not to question it. Weeks passed, and Mariana maintained boundaries. I can't right now. I don't have the energy. I need to take care of myself. And she observed, people reacting, and the reactions revealed everything. The mother was hurt. You're not the same anymore. And she distanced herself. She called less, and when she did call, it was brief, cold. The friend disappeared completely. She posted on social media about true friendships, but didn't text. Other friends too, little by little, they left. Because Mariana had changed the rules of the game, and they didn't want to play the new game. They wanted the old one, where they always won, and Mariana always lost, but nobody kept score. And Mariana lost a lot of people, 80% of the connections. They vanished in 2 months, and that hurt, brutally. But it also taught me. It taught me that those connections were never real. They were transactional, based on exchange. She gave, they received.
And when she stopped giving, there was no reason to stay. And you can live decades with people and still have none. Because quantity is not quality, and presence is not connection. Mariana had discovered this. Late, but she discovered it. And now, with 20% remaining, she was going to rebuild. Real relationships, reciprocal relationships. Or she was going to be alone, honestly alone. And both were better than populated illusions, infinitely better. They always had been. Mariana started therapy. The therapist listened to her story and said something that blew her mind. You weren't a victim of bad people. You were a victim of systemic patterns. You trained people to use you, and they learned well. Mariana was confused. How did I train them? Every time you said yes when you wanted to say no. Every time you put their needs above your own. Every time you accepted crumbs of reciprocity and called it enough. You taught me, you can use me, and I will be grateful. And they learned, because humans repeat what works, and using you worked. You were always there. Mariana cried, because it was true, and the truth hurt. She had been complicit in her own exploitation, not maliciously, but through conditioning. The conditioning of a child who had to be an adult at 16, who learned your value lies in your usefulness, and when you are not useful, you have no value. And Mariana had lived this as truth for 18 years, until nothing remained of her but function. The therapist explained the concept, caregiver burden, the weight of caring, not just for the elderly or sick, but for the emotional care of everyone. Research shows that people in the role of permanent emotional caregiver have a 70% higher risk of depression, an 80% higher risk of burnout, and a 60% higher risk of autoimmune diseases. Why? Because the body doesn't differentiate between physical and emotional stress. Carrying the emotional weight of 10 people is equivalent to working 3 jobs, and the body takes its toll. Mariana had symptoms: chronic insomnia, pains without cause, hair loss, weak immune system. She caught the flu every month. Her body was collapsing, begging her to stop. But she continued, because stopping meant disappointing, and disappointing was unacceptable. Until the body can no longer tolerate it and forces a halt, through such profound exhaustion that getting out of bed becomes an act of heroism. And Mariana had arrived there, in forced collapse, because she would never do it voluntarily, because she was conditioned. You endure, you always endure, until you can't take it anymore, and death is the only way out. But Mariana didn't die. She stopped, and that was braver than dying, because dying is easy. To stop being who you were trained to be, that's personal revolution, which few do, because it requires killing the version of yourself that everyone loves and being reborn as a version that nobody knows, and that terrifies. But it liberates. It always liberates. Studies have also analyzed reciprocity in relationships. They found that healthy relationships have a 60-40 reciprocity ratio. Sometimes you give more, sometimes less, but the average is balanced. Mariana's relationships were 95-5. She gave 95%, they gave 5%, and they called it friendship, family, love. But love isn't one-sided. That's exploitation with a fancy name. And Mariana had experienced exploitation by people who genuinely thought they loved her, because they confused love with convenience. I love having you in my life, not I love you. Having you in my life because it's useful, because it solves problems, because it's manageable. And when you stop having those qualities, love evaporates. Because it was never love, it was self-interest, disguised as affection. And Mariana had collected interest, thinking it was affection. And when she tested it, she discovered nobody stayed, because nobody loved. They only used, and use doesn't survive unavailability. Researchers asked people who had left one-sided relationships, "Do you regret it?" 89% said no. What do you regret? Not leaving sooner, wasting years being useful and not being loved. Mariana was a statistician, but she was also a survivor, because she left, not the city, the pattern. And patterns are harder to leave than places, because they're within you, in how you've been conditioned. And deconditioning is dismantling, piece by piece, belief by belief. My value lies in being useful becomes my value lies in existing. I need to please becomes I need to respect myself. I can put up with everyone becomes I can put up with whoever can put up with me back. And this change saves Mariana, but it also isolated her, temporarily, Because people who loved the useful version didn't want the version with limitations, so they left. And Mariana was left alone, but truly alone, not alone surrounded by users. And being truly alone hurts less, because it's honest. There are no illusions, no unmet expectations, just honest emptiness, which can be filled with real connections, eventually. But first, you need to empty the false. And Mariana had emptied it, and she was ready to fill it with reality, or remain empty. And both were victories, because both were honest, and honesty is the only foundation for real life.